Did you ever imagine earning a Guinness World Records title? Stay here because you will do it right now. I'm Kelvin Fernandez, co-founder and CEO of Neil AI, and as part of the Microsoft AI Skills Fest initiative, today we were invited to produce content and help us earn a Guinness World Records title for the most users to take an online multi-level artificial intelligence lesson in 24 hours. That means today we will have a massive number of people learning AI. And if you participate in this program, you will be able to earn your Guinness World Record badge. So let me explain you. The process is quite simple. First, you just need to register for the initiative. Second, simply participate in any of the video lessons as this one that you are watching right now. And at the end, you just need to scan this QR code or get into this website to confirm your participation. You will instantly earn your official attempt badge for the Guinness World Record organization. And in case we made it to the final number, you will gain your final title together with us. It's very simple. So let's participate, let's get into it, and tag us on social media using the hashtag AI Skill Fest. Okay, so this course that you are watching today and that is part of this initiative, it's about aligning technical and business teams on AI projects. So we have a lot of organizations that are trying to embed AI, but AI projects are very diverse in the sense of what stakeholders are involved, and it's always a challenge to align them towards a unique goal. And that is what you will learn today. I guess that a couple of years ago, when generative AI arrived in your business, you had a few like critical meetings where everybody said, generative AI arrived, let's just automate customer support, we cannot be left behind. And the expectation was that there were going to be a lot of money, a lot of cost savings by using AI. This is what we all expected a few years ago when generative AI arrived. But the reality was quite the opposite. It was quite different, right? Sometimes the return on investment on these AI initiatives was very low. Sometimes it was even negative. And actually, according to a study by Gartner, the vast majority of AI projects fail. They say that about 85% of AI projects fail. And I will tell you why. So at Neil AI, we have been working with AI formally for the last 6 years. I have been personally working in AI for about 15 years. And every time I see a project failing, the main reason is because people focus on the technical aspects of AI alone. So what data you need, the AI models, the latest state of the art AI models, the tools and the infrastructure. But the main reason to fail is because they neglect people and processes. So how can we align all the stakeholders in the organization to proactively embrace these new AI initiatives, these new AI use cases, this new reality of the business? And change management is a critical part. And the goal of this short course is to align technical and business people on AI projects so you can actually leverage AI in your organization. Remember that this is part of this official attempt to earn a Guinness World Record, so you have two simple steps. First, register for the initiative following this QR code, watch any of the courses. I hope you watch our course, and then by the end, simply confirm your participation by registering on the second QR code. So, before we manage how to align technical and business teams on AI, let's align ourselves on what is AI, because AI seems to be a very buzzword that everybody's using, even to sell that they are doing something special. So let's try to define what truly AI is from a business perspective. And whenever I ask this question to my folks, AI engineers, data scientists, data engineers, they start with some, random words like it's about machine learning algorithms that train themselves and a lot of technical stuff that, when another person hears that, they just hear like, they don't understand what that's going on, right? And actually, I have been working in AI for over 15 years. And whenever my mother asks me, Kelvin, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? I started doing this random, short out random words. And by the end, my mother always said, like, okay, kid, as long as you are happy, I'm happy. Okay. And that is not a very happy thing, a very nice thing to hear when you work on the sexiest field in the world right now, right? So you want to hear like, that's incredible. I'm so happy that you are causing all this impact. But no, she only said like, well, kid, as long as you are happy, I'm happy. Okay. This is not true. This didn't happen. but with my mother at least, but it happened a lot with our clients, with our business managers. Whenever I go to a business meeting and I try to explain them what AI is and how they can leverage AI, by the end, they just give me a pat on my back and say, okay, thank you for your time. We will call you if we need anything, right? That's what happens when we get on these complex concepts of AI. But AI is very simple, and I can give you the most simple, useful, and actionable definition that any business manager needs to embrace AI today. So AI today equals predictions. It's exactly the same thing. AI is only making prediction, and a prediction is simple new data. It's data that you didn't have before, and that now you have access to it. And what can you do with new data? Basically, make better decisions. So AI is as simple as a decision-making machine, and that is the only thing that we need to understand when we are embracing AI, which is we are trying to automate and optimize how we make recurring decisions on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so if we are embracing AI, we need to do a mindset shift. So we need to stop making micro decisions and start deciding on how you decide. So instead of deciding how you are going to answer the next email or the answer from the next email, you need to start considering how do I answer emails instead of deciding what is the category of the next customer support ticket. You need to understand what makes this ticket belongs to category A versus category B. So you can then teach a model on what are the patterns it should look at when categorizing this ticket. I hope it's clear now, right? So remember, be part of it, guys. Register for the event. Then at the end, confirm that you watch any of the courses and you will earn this badge. Let's go for it, guys. We have 24 hours to do it. And I hope you receive the badge, I receive the badge. And by the end of the day, more than the badge, we will all have crafted a new skill, a new very relevant skill, which is AI, artificial intelligence. Okay. So if the definition of AI is so simple, why is it so difficult to align business and technical teams on AI projects? Guys, I have been involved in hundreds of AI projects, and this is super tricky to guarantee alignment between all the stakeholders. And let me tell you a story. I live in Portugal, okay? And I have lived in Portugal for the last 12 years, okay? And when I speak Portuguese, I become very risk adverse, okay? My personality is more like, I'm actually very risk adverse. I don't like to take risks when I speak in Portuguese. And my language changes. I become more risk adverse on the way I speak. But when I speak English, I become very ambitious. And I can make everything happen. And I'm capable of doing all these things. So my personality immediately changed when I start speaking English. And originally, I am from Venezuela. So I speak Spanish. And as you may realize, Latin Americans are quite happy. So everything is a joke, everything is fun and games, right? So when I speak Spanish, I became, I try to make a lot of jokes, right? So I take a different personality when I speak Spanish. And when I speak French, well, let's keep that private for my wife and myself, okay? So I know what you're thinking. You're right, like, what the hell is happening with these guys talking here about languages and nationalities? But that's exactly what happens with the lack of alignment between technical and business people. What happens here is that they speak different languages. Technical people speak a different language and so forth, and therefore has a different type of personality than business people. And no, guys, it's not about the words. It's not enough for you to have a glossary at the beginning of your project where you explain what is accuracy, what is an AI model, what is training data. That's not enough. Okay? Why? Because a language comes in a menu. Okay? Comes in like in a Big Mac menu, right? So a language is not just a set of words. It also implies that you will change your personality because that language comes together with a culture, with attitudes, with priorities, with desires, with fears. So whenever a technical person is talking to a business person, we need to guarantee that we align and we have empathy for all of these aspects of each other subculture, let's say. Remember, scan the badge, guys. I cannot emphasize this further. Scan the QR code at the beginning, register for the event, and at the end, confirm your participation so we all make it to the Guinness World Records today. So, as I say, we have technical people, and technical people tend to be more, fun. Like, let's break some eggs, let's just do some exploration here and change things in the business. Business people tend to be like more risk adverse. But this doesn't happen only between technical and business. If you work in any big AI project, you will realize that it also happens inside the technical field. For example, data scientists tend to be more like, let's break some eggs, let's just um, do some pancakes, some scrambled eggs, right? And data engineers are more about infrastructure. They are like, please, guys, stop doing that, okay? And same thing happens inside the business culture, inside the different business tribes. For example, marketing and sales are all about, exploration, experiments, fun, while operations are more about structure, processes, and about not messing up with things. And that is why you see that most organizations that start embracing AI start by working with marketing and sales, because they are very aligned with the data scientist culture, okay, of let's have fun, let's just explore new things. But when they try to scale up these projects, it goes into operations and data engineers. So it's just a matter of expectations and alignment between these tribes, both technical and business, technical and business and business. And then the legal guys comes into the question, and I won't even talk about that, because then it becomes just a nightmare and everybody, flipping tables, and I won't get into that part. Okay, so let me tell you something, guys. I have a superpower. Yeah, that's me. So I am able of making technical and business people communicate with each other, and that superpower comes from this tool that we use every day at Neil AI, which is the AI canvas. It's basically a representation that enables us to communicate and to align all the goal, all the parts of any AI project. Remember, guys, scan the QR code. We will make it today, okay? So let's describe what the AI canvas is and how you can use it, okay? So the central part of the AI canvas is the same thing as the central part of any AI project. Is the opportunity you are trying to solve. And here you need to focus on the transformation, guys. Get in love with the problem. Do not get in love with the solution. This is like a maximum for business, for any project that you take, any AI project or any project in your life. Okay, get in love with the problem. So here we will describe what is our vision for the company once we solve this challenge. And I do this in three stages. So what is the vision? Then what is the bottleneck that prevents me from achieving that vision? And here I try to emphasize with the business people a lot, like, but tell me the actual bottleneck. But because most of the times they will come with a symptom, not with the root cause that is causing that bottleneck. And once you solve that symptom, you will realize that nothing changed. Okay. So a technique that I use very frequently to find the actual bottleneck is asking the five whys. So they tell me, Kelvin, we need to optimize our production. So because we need to increase sales, but in order to do that, we need to forecast demand. Then why you need to forecast demand? Well, because we need to define the prices for our raw materials. Okay, why you need to define the prices for your raw materials? Well, because there is instability on that price. Then why there is instability? So I do why, I ask why multiple times until I reach the ultimate bottleneck that AI will try to solve. And then you shift the question. Okay, what will help you remove this bottleneck? Typically, it's a piece of information. It's a prediction. Remember, guys, AI is all about making predictions. Well, typically, it's a missing piece in the puzzle that do not allow them to solve this bottleneck. And this here is where AI comes into play. Okay, on the left side of the canvas we have the technical part of AI, and on the right side we have the business side of AI. This is very similar to the business model canvas, in case you have seen it. So in the center we have value proposition. In this business model canvas, on the left side we have the technical part of the business, so the internal part of the business, like the partners, the cost structure, etc. Here we have the technical part of AI, the internal part of AI. And on the right side, on the business model canvas, we will have the external part of the business. So how it communicates with the customer segments, revenue streams, channels, etc. In the right side of our AI canvas, we have how the AI interacts with the business. And by making sure we have a common opportunity, a common vision for our project, and the technical side is aligned with the business side, we will have alignment between the two teams. So let's go into it. Left side of the canvas, the technical side of it, we have what I call the holy trinity of AI: data, prediction, and decision making. Let's go one by one. So prediction, the core part of AI. Remember, AI is about predictions. Prediction is new data, and new data enables you to make better decisions, right? That's the definition. So let's start with predictions. when we define what prediction we need to consider two aspects: the givens and the prediction itself. What is the givens? The givens are the evidence that will fit the model. So what can condition the outcome of a prediction? For example, if I have an e-commerce and I want to increase sales, typically I will need to understand, for example, giving a person, a customer, giving a product and a pricing model, the probability of purchase. Okay. So what are the conditioning aspects of my prediction? Here, align with the business team what are the main driving factors that will affect the prediction. But be careful, because typically the business people will give you not the short-term prediction that you should make, but the ultimate decision they want to do, and that typically comes with a lower accuracy level for your technical models. So try to get the most realistic prediction that you can actually make that still is relevant for decision making, because decision making we will solve it on a different block. Okay. So this is the prediction component. Now let's talk about data, right? AI is all about data. When we think about data, and here by data, I typically mean the data that fits the AI model. So the data, the evidence that the AI model will truly use to make the predictions, I think in two terms. First of all, what is the expected impact of a data point? For example, let's say that I'm building this recommender system for my e-commerce. What are the potential data points? For example, clicks on products, views, purchases, the description of the products, the stock levels of the products, etc. So let's think about what is the expected impact. How much will this data point affect my prediction? Okay, and that is one axis. The second axis is availability. So do I have this data? Yes or no? Typically, if you look at and technical teams communicating around which data points will make it into the model, business people tend to prioritize high expected impact data, so the data that they know by their experience that will cause an impact, while technical people tend to focus on highly available data. Okay, in our opinion, any AI project should start with data that is highly available, that is already there, available for us to start working today on this AI project, and that has a high expected impact. And your proof of concept should always start only with this data. Once you validate that the model is feasible, that the project is feasible, you can start collecting this other data here. High expected impact, low availability, such that at some point, once you collect enough data, you can have a second iteration of the project, including this data that yes, it has a high impact on the model, but no, we don't have it yet. Business people tend to block projects until they collect this data, thinking that this data alone is not enough. And then they just realize that collecting this data is too complex, and then they come into an MVP. Guys, trust me, start with this data here, the data that is already there and that it will cause high expected impact. And please never work with this data that is not there and that is not available, that will not cause any massive impact. And you will get crazy if you realize how much data businesses are trying to collect, that they don't know what is the impact on the organization, that they don't have it, and they are just wasting money on this type of data. Okay, so whenever you use a data point, make sure it serves a purpose, so it has a high expected impact on your decision, and that is available. Don't try to over engineer a data ingestion pipeline to collect data that you don't even know if the model is feasible or not. So start with this part here. Now let's go with decision making. I typically say that predictions are trash, decisions are king. Why? Because many AI projects, do not cause any impact just because they fall too short on simply generating predictions. We need to make sure those predictions are transformed into decisions or even into actions. So how do I align business and technical teams on what decisions can be made? First of all, we need to understand what is the space of decision or the range of actions we can do. For example, on recommendation engines, let's say the decision we need to make is, for this product, what is the alternative product I will offer? That is the decision. So I have the whole pool of products. Which one is the complementary product that I will put here? Or the decision can be about pricing, or it can be about choosing a subset of products that's a whole work well. So we need to align on what is the decision space, the decision that the AI model will need to make. And then we need to align on what is the cost and benefit associated with each decision. This cost and benefit typically is aligned and typically is derived from the prediction that the AI model made. For example, what is the cost and benefit of offering this product to this user, given that I know that the probability of them buying it is zero point 0.8 or whatever, right? And finally, we need to understand the constraints. So, what can limit the space of feasible, of potential decisions that the AI model can make? For example, a relevant constraint in this recommender system application that we are discussing for an e-commerce could be stock available, right? So I can only recommend products that are available in the stock, because otherwise I will wasting my recommendations. Other things could be, for example, legal regulatory constraints, like you cannot use this data. Or for example, it could be about diversity of products. For example, I want to recommend a product that is on a different category that this person has never bought, so I can show them the whole diversity of my catalog. So whenever you are transforming predictions into decisions, you need to think about these three aspects: the set of actions or decisions, the cost and benefit that each action will make on the business, and the constraints. What challenges will you face here? Typically, people do not have data about the constraint, stock levels, etc. You need to make sure that is obvious. And sometimes it's difficult to understand the costs and benefits of an action end to end as a business level. So make sure you have your business team aligned and you can put a number on each action. Let's go into the key performance indicators, the final block of the technical side of the AI canvas. So when we are deciding about which KPIs we are going to track, we focus on three types of KPIs, what we call the hero, the villain, and the psychic. AI people tend to over-focus about the psychic. The psychic for me is the technical KPI that you use to train your AI model, like accuracy, raw AUC, F1 scores. All of these ancient language words that business people do not understand and technical people tend to overuse. Remember something: nobody goes to the movies to watch the psychic, right? Everybody goes to the movies to watch the hero. So what is the hero? The hero is the business KPI that you are optimizing. In the case of our e-commerce, it's basically sales or click-through rate. And then remember that by optimizing this hero, sometimes you will be affecting another KPI. And I call this KPI the villain. For example, if I'm trying to increase revenue, maybe I will affect satisfaction or the net promoter score, right? So I always, on any AI project that I make, I try to understand the two sides of the coin. If I am optimizing this metric, what could I affect? So I keep an eye on both metrics and I make sure that my project is shielded so that nothing will happen there that could affect the business as a whole. Remember, scan the QR codes, register for the event, and in the end, scan the final QR code confirming your participation so you can earn this Guinness World Records badge. Let's go now to the right side of the AI canvas, the business part of the canvas. So we start with the business integration. And what is the business integration? Is how will you redefine your process by leveraging AI? Typically, there are four patterns to embrace AI in any business. The first one is an added process. It's a process that didn't exist before and now it has. So you have a task A, then you have AI that somehow enriches your knowledge about your task, and then you have task B. The second model is a replacement. When you basically, for example, replace a manual task by an automated task. And when people get afraid of AI automating jobs, typically we are talking about this pattern key replacement. But let me tell you something. On the 15 years of experience I have been working with AI, it's very, very rare to apply this pattern. Most likely you will apply the third pattern that I will describe now, which is filtering, which is where the AI filters or automates the easy cases such that the human focuses on the tricky ones. And the final pattern is a second opinion. And it's very relevant, for example, in cases where there is a critical task, like in healthcare or on any critical process, to have a second opinion. And you have the human, you have the AI, and if there is any disagreement, then you can raise a fallback process. You can trigger an alternative method. Okay. So these are the four typical patterns to embrace AI in your business. Then let's get into the consequences of applying AI. What do I mean by consequences? Typically, elasticity and adaptability of the models. We have been in projects where locally the project succeeded. For example, we increased click-through rate, but by the end of the day, we didn't increase sales. And the reason for it is that the rest of the workflow, the rest of the value chain didn't have capacity to absorb, to optimize the added capacity that we gained for the AI. For example, we had higher click-through rates, but we weren't able to increase production. Okay, so yes, we sold the stock faster, but by the end of the day, it didn't improve the whole metric, which was revenue. Okay, so whenever you think about AI, and especially in any project, but especially in AI projects, because AI has a 10x capacity, think about your whole value chain, about your whole workflow, and think if there is any potential bottleneck on a different stage that could limit the capacity of AI. So the way I do this is I think in these three parts: cause, effect, action plan. Since the AI will do this, then this will happen. So I will rebalance the business. I will downscale the business by doing this action plan. If you think about this and if you find that all parts of the business can adjust to the new reality, then you are in a good path. Then we get into risks. And when we think about risks on AI projects, I think both on technical risks, like the data is bad, the model doesn't work well, etc. But I also think about more human risks. For example, reputation, fairness, ethics, regulatory and compliance risks, lack of acceptability and adoption by your business stakeholders. What I do with my business peers is I try to prioritize the risk by considering two things: the probability of the risk happening, so how often will it happen, and the loss, how much will I lose if that risk happens. Okay, we identify the top risks and then we build what I call a mitigation plan. A mitigation plan has two parts: a prevention plan, which goal is to lower the probability of a risk happening, and then a recovery plan, which is basically how can I lower the loss if that risk happens. Okay, so focus on the risk that will most likely impact your business as a whole, that will happen a lot and that will cause you a major stress, and try to mitigate them early on in the AI project. That way, you will have a higher alignment on the overall structure, on the different departments of your organization, and make sure you cover risks across all departments. Finally, size. How do I know how much money will this AI project bring? And typically what we do is we size in pessimistic terms. Let's say that if we optimize this process 100%, it will make us, I don't know, $10 million. Okay. So I always think in pessimistic terms, in a sense of, well, let's say that instead of 10 millions, we can only capture 1 million. Is that large enough to take the AI initiative? Yes or no? So I apply like a 10% safety margins. Why? Because AI projects are risky, because any technology project has certain risks. So I always consider if what happens in the worst case scenario. Is this project still viable? Yes or no? If it is, then we can get into the project. If it is not, then it doesn't make much sense. Okay, and this applies both on projects where you are increasing a metric like revenue, or where you are minimizing a metric such as reducing costs. Think on pessimistic terms. And then what we do is we do another 10x decrease on the budget that we have to validate a project. And that is how we guarantee buy-in by the entire business stakeholders. We have a massive opportunity, then we apply a pessimistic factor, like let's say our opportunity is $10 million. If we are pessimistic, it becomes a million. And then I will only have 100K to validate. That is typically the margins, the 10x rules that I apply to make sure that we don't overspend money on an AI initiative. Okay. And this guys was the last block of the AI Canvas. Remember to register in the initiative and then to confirm your participation, that you watch this or any other course, so you earn your official attempt badge by the Guinness World Records. So now you are asking, okay, Kelvin, I have 5 potential AI projects in my organization. How do I choose the first AI initiative I should tackle? So it's pretty easy, and the AI Canvas will help you answer this question by using what I call our STAR framework. STAR comes from size, technical feasibility, adoption, and risk. Let's go into each one of these. So let's get into size. First of all, I only want to work on projects that are large enough, that will bring enough revenue to the organization. Then I want to work on projects that are easy to solve, that are technically feasible, In order to measure this, I go into the technical side of the AI canvas. Then I want to work on projects that will be embraced by the organization. So I go into the business integration pattern. I see if there is any resistance by the business stakeholders, and I check the consequences to know what could I affect on the entire organization. And finally, I look at the risks, what risks are involved on this project. I discover AI use cases, I try to understand them by using the AI canvas, I prioritize them using the STAR framework, and then I repeat to have a solid roadmap, a solid backlog of AI projects to automate any organization. Now, if you are on an early stage adoption of using AI, I will prioritize the low hanging fruit. What is low hanging fruit? It's projects that will be easily adopted by the organization, so high adoption and high technical feasibility. Projects that are easy to tackle. I typically ignore revenue. So if I already have a buy-in by the main stakeholders and everybody wants to embrace AI, I then move into projects that will have a massive impact, even if they have higher risk or technical feasibility, technical difficulties. Okay, guys, now we reach the end of the course. We both speak the same language, the language of AI, the AI canvas. If you align your technical and business peers using the AI canvas, I promise you in your any of your AI projects, you will have less noise, you will have higher alignment, and by the end you will generate more value. Congratulations, you just achieved a new AI learning milestone. You are preparing yourself to succeed in a world where AI leads and is involved in any organization. Now that you made all this effort, you're confirmed your participation, and that will grant you the official badge from the Guinness World Records organization, and share your success with all your community by tagging us, Neil AI, Kelvin, Microsoft, and using the hashtag AI Skills Fest. Remember to confirm your participation, guys. Let's make it. Let's just earn a Guinness World Record while preparing the whole market to embrace AI. See you soon. Bye bye.